So hello, good morning for everybody. Uh, Today we will talk about web animations APIs. This web animation API. What is this thing that's experimental API, and it's not like the full yet, but you can try it and have fun with. This is my Twitter. So if you have some question after my talk, I can reply to you there, and I will be really happy to talk to you there. And I'm front engineer for OUTFITTERY, and I could talk about the company here, but we have a video that's a better explanation about what the company does.
A lot of men don't like to shop, but they do want to look good. For these men, we have the perfect solution, OUTFITTERY. From the center of Berlin's Kreuzberg, our style experts are here to make you look and feel good. This is our secret recipe. Our stylists who will help you with their professional knowledge of style and fashion. They are always there for you, to support you and your appearance. Our stylists choose from the best brands and style your personal box with love. Then send it to you with a personal note. No more carrying annoying bags in crowded malls. Fitting in the comfort of your own home. Style advice and shipping both ways free of charge. Now let us surprise you. Outfittery.com. Shopping for men.
Yeah, that's about OUTFITTERY. And to the begin, I would like to talk about the platform improvements that we have from the last years. In 2014, this guy called Zeno Rocha, he in the JSConf UI, he said that the most famous client-side projects are fated to die, and it was like really complicated to have the base on. But if you look to the examples that we have, for example, who here have been working with Flash for a while? Nice. And Flash was like really good, really good. But the problem with Flash was that it wasn't a native technology, so you couldn't rely that all the users that you wanted to show your application would work with Flash on this machine. So the platform with HTML5, for example, they brought Canvas, and everything that you could do with Flash, now you could do with Canvas as well. And another a good example is this guy here. So how many of you guys here have been started working with jQuery and said, like, you know, I'm an awesome web developer? It was good, like, just me here? Ah, okay, thank you. But the problem that jQuery tried to solve was that the developer experience when you were working with JavaScript was really bad, actually. And the platform saw these problems and tried to bring everything that was, not everything, but most of the things that was good in jQuery to the native side, So, for example, we can use like this CSS selectors to get elements with the document API. So basically, what's happening behind of the web development world is like this magic is happening all the time. Every time that the platform see that is something that's growing a lot, but it's not native, they try to bring it to the native side as well. And talking about animations, again, I have been working with Flash and also with this guy here that's called GreenSock. And yeah, GreenSock is really good, but still it's not native, so you have to rely on some other libraries to work on. And it's about this new thing here that we will talk today. But for the beginning, I would like to talk about the basics. For you guys, what is an animation? So basically, if we have this example here, I have my chocolate here, and I would like to move this guy to the other side here, like this. And basically, what's happening is that on this timeline, this animation is like a process to making the illusion of motion, but to make it, what happens that they are changing all the time, like the images in a fast way to make your brain believe that this element is moving. Yeah, it's basically what's saying here. And that brings us to the next question. How have we been creating animations now? And animations, like we have this first guy here, that's the hover interaction. That's basically all the time that we have an element, and when the user hover this element here with the mouse, it will have some action. So for example, if I want to increase and decrease my chocolate here, when the user starts the hover interaction here, what I would have to do is basically this. I had to get my element, have to define the state for this hover, and I will say like when the user hover my element, I would like to scale it a bit, and to have this smooth transition, I just have to add this transition property here and say which property I want to watch to have this transition. And of course, it will work like this. And the other way that we could also create animations is using the Css Animations API, more the keyframes. And I really like dogs, so I created this guy here. He's called Snoopy, and he tried to support me in this talk today. Basically, if you see, like Snoopy is shaking his tail, and also the clowns are moving around. And so to create this animation with CSS, what we would have to do is define the elements that we want to animate, define also the keyframes, and then start using the keyframes with CSS properties, right? And you see that in this case here, the second clown is has a delay. So I'm defining the delay for this animation here, and I also using this tail animation here. I won't go to the detail here inside. But for us, what's the problem that's happening here? And actually, it's not the problem, but how could we improve it? Because when we are working with CSS animations, we have those three problems on the base. Like the performance for CSS animations are not that good, and especially if you are working with mobile applications. And the developer experience also is not that good, because if you are creating huge animations, you have to write this huge CSS file with a lot of keyframes, and yeah, it will be hard to maintain afterwards. So, and also the behavior manipulations, because if you want to change the state of the dog, for example, I will have to create some other CSS class to work with this behavior manipulation. And that's the why we now could use this web animation API, that's this experimental stuff that it's here, and we could try. To create the same example here, they have defined one longer version that was defined on the beginning of this specification, and another shorter version. I will show both for you now, but to the examples, I will just show the shorter version. So also, I just have to get the elements that I want to animate, and here I have to define these animation options. And you can see that it's basically like the CSS animation properties that you can define are exactly the same thing. And after that, you have to create this keyframe effect that will wrap the element that you want to animate here in the first parameter, and then in the second parameter, you have to send an array with all the action that you have defined. And the last parameter here is this animation options. And after that, we would have to create this animation, instantiate this animation here, and then play. You see that we wrote a lot of code just to do this small thing here, and so they found out it and tried to improve. So they now have this shorter version that's basically the same thing. Like you have to get the elements that you want to animate, define the keyframes here, and also the animation options that you have. But now, to create the animation, you don't have to create this new animation, blah, 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 and then attach it to the document timeline. Here you just have to use the element that you want to animate, .animate. And if you remember, like a few years ago, jQuery Animate is the same thing here. They have this .animate that you can basically define the keyframes and some other options here that you want to use. And still, I have the animation for the clowns here and all the things. All the keyframes for the clown here, and also like then I just have to animate the element. And you see here that in this cloud here, I have two different animations in this cloud animation. In the cloud one, I have this animation that will move the cloud to in this direction, in the vertical, and the other one that will be moving in the horizontal. So, but basically, what I showed you here is the same thing that you already have in the CSS animation, and we didn't see anything like really fun here. So the things like the power for this web animation API is that the animation has this animation API has some properties that you can use to know which state your animation is. So for example, if I want to know the current time of your animation in the document timeline, and then you can use this property here, current time, and then for example, if I want to set a start time for this animation, I don't know, for example, if I want to sync 3 or 4 different animations, you can use this guy here to set the animation time. And also you have like the playing state for your animation, so you could now know if your animation is running or is paused or didn't start yet, I don't know. And of course, there are more properties that you can see. And also, we have some other event handlers. Like, for example, if you want to run some other function after your animation be done, you could use this onFinish guy here that will run a promise, and it will be called after your presentation be done. And we also have these methods here that you can use to manipulate your animation. Like that, we also had it in Flash, for example. Display, the reverse, and the cancel. The cancel, I don't know if we had in Flash, but yeah. And we have this guy here, that's this animation options, this object. And basically, you can see here that all the keys that we have to send here are the keys, are the CSS animation properties that we use here already. So if you already have this knowledge with CSS properties, with CSS animation properties, like you can go for it and start working with the web animation API easily. So I will show you now. For example, if Snoopy is a bit tired, right now, and we could say to him like, yeah, Snoopy, every time that I click on your head, I want you to sleep. You see that he will sleep, and then if I click again, he will wake up. And basically what's happening here is that I have to get the elements that I want to animate here, and then define this event listener to all the time that I click on his head. I call this function here, and this function is in the first line has this verification here, calling this other function here called like if that will reply to me if Snoop is awake or not. And here I'm using this play state parameter to know if his tail is shaking or not. And if the tail is shaking, it's because he's awake, otherwise he's sleeping. And relying on that, I call like the function to say to Snoop to sleep, and the other function to wake up him. And here you have defined all the keyframes that I want to use. Like basically, I will hide the eyes, and I also will show the eyes. It's basically the same thing here. And I have this option here, and you see this fill option forwards is to you keep the final state of your animation after it be done. Otherwise, like if I define this, if I don't define it here, after for example, this hide eyes be done, this animation, the eyes will show again. So I have to use this property here to keep the final state of the animation. And the function that will make him sleep is basically this, like I will hide the awake eyes, and then I will show the sleepy eyes. And here I have to use this method pause to pause his tail. Yeah, to pause his tail. And now I could know if he's awake or not. And the same thing is happening here. When I wake him up, I hide the sleepy eyes, and I show the awake eyes, and then I have to play the animation for the tail again. So if I would have to create it using like CSS Animations, I could do the same. But for example, to this case here, I would have to create a function to change the CSS class and rely on that. I would know like if he's awake or not. And also another thing is that is the developer experience here. Like if you are creating an animation and you want to debug it to know like which things are happening in each frame, you just have to use the animation tabs in the Chrome DevTools, for example, to know like each frame that's happening here. So you could, for example, play it faster. You could, for example, pause your animation, play it faster or slowly. And I could show you here. Not this. Yeah. No, I could show in the other ones better. Yeah, all the animations that I have defined here, and they can like see the tail animation here. I can see only the tail animation. I also could see the cloud animation. So if I want to pause it now, I can do it. And if I want to play it again, I just have to click here. I also could like play it slowly a bit or even slowly, and play again the same in the same speed. Yeah. And yeah. So, but the problem, as I said, it's a experimental thing. So the support's not that good yet. You could start having fun using to your application like personal things. But if you want your application to run in iOS devices, for example, it won't work right now. But it will work soon. And it was like really hard to find projects using Web Animations API when I was researching to create this talk. And me and a friend of mine, we decided to create this project here called Web Animations Playground, where you can find some animations that are made using the Web Animations API. And you also can, yeah, it's working here. This guy. Yeah, and you also, if you have done some animation using this thing here, you can clone the project here and send your pull request with some animation example that you have done. So, for example, Snoopy is here, and this other one here is from another person that sent this pull request. But Snoopy is here, and you will see here in the code pane that it's everything working here, and all the code that I showed during the presentation is here, and it's not that long actually. And Snoopy is an SVG, so you can also animate SVG elements. And if I click on his head, he will sleep and he will wake up as well. Yeah. So, and another thing, when I was working to this presentation, I thought like it would be really nice if Snoopy would be, it would be really nice if Snoopy also could understand what we are talking now. And for example, if I want him to get rest and things like this, so I will ask to you guys to, when I do like this, you guys to scream with me like, wake up, right? Please? Otherwise he won't wake up. No. So he's sleeping here, and if I say to him like, thank you, Snoop, blah, 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 you really helped me here, but now you can take a nap. You can take a nap. No, he won't take a nap, right? You can take a nap. Yeah. And he will take a nap, right? And if I say to him, wake up, you see he yeah. Wake up. Yeah. Now he's waking up. So I'm using here this Sprite API from Google to manipulate his behavior. So basically I'm watching like all the changes, all the things that we are talking now. Yeah. And something different that's happening here, but all the time that I say like, take a nap, something different. Take a nap. They can. Take a nap. Yeah, now. He will sleep. And when I say to him to wake up, yeah. I think he's tired, right? Wake up. Please wake up. Now, I think he's hungry as well, yeah. but still, like you can have fun and play with this. Like you can start mixing different APIs to create your animations. Yeah. And yeah, you can start using like different APIs to create your animations, and you can see that you could like create different and fun examples like this. So if you want to contribute to this project, you can just fork it and send your pull request. I will be really happy to have your pull request there. And yeah, and these slides are hosted here in my speaker deck. And Dankeschön. Thanks for all. Do you guys have any question? No? Okay, so thank you. No, wait.
Do you have an idea how to do you have a project at OUTFITTERY to use something like this, or is it a very, very private project of you?
So, for example, besides you create like cool animations like this using to Snoop and things like this, you also can create animate, for example, page transitions, yeah, page transitions, for example, to improve the user experience, for example, and also you could like change, animate a list of items that you can change the way of the items are showing on the page, for example. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Do you know, like, when you are creating animations using CSS, you can ask to the computer to help, you know, the animation performance. So all the animations that you create using this web animation API, they will use this ask for a GPU support uh, by default. So everything that you create, even like a small change in your component or in your animation, will be supported by this support. Yeah, by the GPU. Yeah. Other questions? Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day.